Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe and this is the Paddock Podcast. I'm joined by Jay Motti and Ronaldo Brown. As always, of course, I say that I wasn't here last week, but Jay, how are you?
I'm good, man. Good to see you back.
Yes.
Good to be back on content with you. Did a little video yesterday, of course, but yeah, you've been missed.
Fantastic news. Ronaldo, how are you?
Always better after a win.
Yes. Everything's better after a win, isn't it? We've got loads to talk about today. We're going to talk about that game, obviously. We'll talk a bit about sort of the state of Manchester United at the moment, because it feels like after every game, we have to revisit where we are, who we are, what Manchester United is, what Ruben Amorim is, what our midfield is, our defenders good enough, is our attack, everything is in question and up for grabs on a week-by-week basis at the moment. And I do get it. Every game is a substantial portion of the season. We played 5 league games, so every single week is a 20% narrative around Manchester United, and it's understandable. We're going to get into that. We'll also look a little bit about Ahmad and Bruno Fernandes in particular. There seems to be sort of narratives building that we want to sort of address, look at what's going on with Ahmad at the moment. But there's loads to talk about. We'll have a look at some other things as well. Plenty to talk about. Let's start with the game at the weekend. Because you said there, Ronaldo, always better after a win. Everything feels different after a win. You look at the league table now, United 3 points off second. All of a sudden, things are looking a little bit rosy. I think we're 10th or 11th in the league. But if you take, obviously Liverpool are well ahead, but United are very much in touching distance of anyone else in the league. How do you feel now compared to this time last week?
You can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it positively in terms of saying we're 2 points off third, but you can also look at it the other way and say we're level on points with Leeds and Sunderland. But
yeah,
it's still a decent start in terms of obviously who we've played. Obviously we've played Chelsea, we've played City, and we've played Arsenal. So it's not been the easiest of starts. But I'm not really one for looking at points totals until around November time.
Okay.
But you obviously still want to stack up wins because things can change very, very quickly. If you have a couple of dodgy results, the same way that if you have a couple of wins, things can look extremely more rosy. It's just about getting that consistency built up and level of performance. But I thought for the Chelsea game, I thought the first 5 minutes that led to the red card was really good. I thought we started very, very sharp and looked up for it. And I think that's been a trend this season, starting games pretty quickly. It's just about whether we'd sustain it. And in typical United fashion, we made it a little bit more squeaky bum than it should have been.
What do you make of the sort of the United start to season generally, but our placing in the table, as Ronnie said, equal points with Leeds and Sunderland, or 1 point behind Sunderland, but only 3 behind Arsenal in second. And as Ronaldo said, we've played 3 of last season's top 4 already in those first 5 games. Positive, negative, somewhere in the middle, because up until the weekend, Amorim's sort of playing for his job game by game, and still probably is.
Yeah, no, I think the league's been all right. It's been okay. It's not been amazing. It's not been, it's not been terrible. It's just been okay. I think if you'd have said to me after these amount of games, we'd have, won 2 and was it 1-2, drawn 1, I wouldn't have gone, oh, that's a disaster. I would have gone, that's amazing. I think the sort of elephant in the room is that Grimsby game. You can't just ignore that, even though we want to. That was terrible. Like, there's no excuse in getting beat by Leeds to opposition into getting knocked out of one of only 2 cup competitions you're in. So that, I admit, was horrible, and I'm not going to defend it. However, in the league, I think we've been all right. And I think certainly in the league, there is an improvement than what we saw from last season. I feel like we're seeing something. I mean, it might not be a lot.
Yeah, the bar for improvements
was low. And you make a point, and you've said this before, and I agree with you. We can finish 14th, and technically that's an improvement. But I feel like there is an improvement where I looked at the Arsenal game, I thought, we haven't played like this for a little while. I looked at parts of that Fulham game, the Burnley game in particular, where I thought, okay, it's just the biggest criticism I can have of this United team is I think we need to be a bit more clinical. I feel like there's other areas you can look at, don't get me wrong. We could spend all day talking about goalkeepers or whatever. But finishing your chances is essential, because I don't actually think there's a world of difference between what you saw against Chelsea and what you saw against Arsenal. I know obviously Chelsea went down to 10 men and we didn't do that for another 35 minutes or whatever. But we had some chances, we took them. Against Arsenal, we had chances we didn't. That is always going to be an issue.
Just that even when the issue of United now is when United actually win games, it doesn't ever seem to be like, they don't make it smooth sailing, do they?
No.
They always there's always got to be like an asterisk or a caveat attached or something bittersweet within the game. Rather than United just putting pedal to the metal, performing well for a full 90 and then getting a result. But to be fair, I don't think many teams perform perfectly well for a full 90 minutes, but you still want to see it more than the spurts. The issue is I didn't actually get to watch the Burnley game like live. Obviously, I was playing a match, and that was probably one of our, from what I heard,
Yeah, that was our most
one of our
dominant
most
game.
controlling or dominant games.
You made a great point, though, Joe, yesterday when me and you were chatting. It's like, for some people, the positives aren't because of Amorim, but the negatives are.
Yeah.
I think you said, and that's sometimes that's what happened with the Burnley game. I think it was just like people sort of saying, well, we won against Burnley and it was a 97th minute winner, and I thought, we were good value for that win.
Some people flip that though, Jay.
You know what I mean?
On either side, and some people in United win, want to give Amorim credit, but not the players. And then if we lose, it's the players can't finish and they're awful, and it was all Amorim. People do it both ways.
I think there's obviously going to be people trying to sort of roll things into the narrative that they want. But I do think
confirmation bias. And
and then obviously that happens. But I think you have to look at the players and the manager independently on all factors.
Yes.
And I think that's the, obviously you're going to always have your own opinions and your own kind of leanings. But I don't want to sort of defend the manager blindly and criticize the players blindly. But I also don't want to do the opposite either. And I think, especially when with this sort of modern thing of, the question, are you Amorim in or Amorim out, to me, is encouraging people to be put in those boxes. I've either decided that this manager must stay, therefore everything we do that's good is his fault and everything we do bad isn't, or I've decided that I'm sick of him, I'm Amorim out, and everything we do that's bad is his fault, and we can save the rest of that. But I think that isn't how, personally, I look at football. I don't think that's how you should look at football, where you put yourself in one of two bins and you stay there and you defend that opinion from that viewpoint no matter what. I just think you look at the manager, you can say on one hand, we haven't been good enough. His record is horrendous. And like you said, Ronnie, we could easily improve and still not be good enough. But on the other hand, you should notice that we have improved. There has been, things have got better. And obviously, look at some of the underlying stats that we visited a couple of weeks ago. United still have had the most shots of anyone in the league. We have still created the most expected goals of anyone in the league. And even when you look at some of the sort of effort metrics that, not just the creative ones, I think when you look at duels won, Manchester United are third in that list as well. So we are fighting hard for things. When you look at the number of tackles as well, I think United are joint third on that list as well. So we're getting stuck. It's not just like we're passing around nicely. We're trying hard off the ball. And I think we're starting to see some development in terms of a style of play, and the things that make this style of play unique to others. I think we're starting to get to grips with it a little bit. So
that's exactly. So if United players are top in duel and tackle statistics, that doesn't sound like a group of players that have given up or mailed it in on the manager.
No. You could see that on the weekend. Like that was the one thing you could see if you were in that bin that the two bins you're in the I don't know which bin's the Amorim out bin. Is it the blue bin? What's that cardboard?
Blue bin.
Cardboard.
That's
paper and cardboard. Brown bottles, isn't it?
Yeah. Glass.
What if you have that pink lid one?
What's that?
That's like the
chips.
No, that's in that garden
feminine
stuff.
hygiene products.
Like no.
That's green bin.
No,
it's green bin.
No, it's Salford. It's pink lid.
There's no pink bin.
It's pink lid.
No.
That garden. Thank you.
Bin.
Blue one's cardboard. Brown is bottles. Grey or dark grey is normal
and
stuff.
Black is general
and pink
waste.
lid is garden waste.
What's the black bin? Is it just general waste?
That's just general waste. So
That's nonsense.
I don't know. I've not
pink
familiar with the
bin
pink
is
bin.
it's not pink. It's the lid's pink.
What colour's the rest of it?
Just black. But so's the general waste is black. So I didn't
So
want to say
do you
black
not have
bin.
a green bin?
No.
There's no green bin in Salford.
Oh yeah, the green small ones.
Is that because people in Salford, if they see green, they'll think it's a vegetable and they'll eat it?
Well, do you want to get out?
What?
Seriously.
See people biting bins.
Fine.
Ben, wait for him outside. You know what to do.
He does anyway. He's picked me up 8 times this week. He's always there. He gives me a quick once over on the way out. No. Yeah, so that's what bin you're in then.
Yeah.
You're the black bin with the pink lid.
When it comes to Amorim, I don't even know what I was on about now, but when it comes to Amorim, like, I like the guy, and I think, it was a good result of the weekend. I still worry. I'm not going to pretend that I think everything is wonderful and we're sorted, because that'd be incredibly naive. Yeah. And I do want to get to the point where it's not, if we lose the next game, it's a catastrophe. That's what I'm dying to get to, because I feel like we're still there. I feel like if we lose to Brentford, then I'm not going to say he's getting sacked, but then it'll be like, oh, we've got to beat Sunderland now. And then if you lose that, it's like, oh God, we've got Anfield. This is horrible. We just need to get a run together so we can relax. We can know that this manager's at least short-term future is secure, and we can start trying to move forward.
Well,
because it feels like we're on this edge all the time.
You feel, and it just feels like the narrative swings so much based on the week. Innit? So like we lose 3-0 to City, and it's like obviously end of the world. It's always an upsetting result. It's a rivalry game, and then Amorim's under pressure, and you hear about the flying with Jim Ratcliffe when he turns up on a helicopter and puts Amorim in a dark room and speaks to him, and then
pouring bottles of water over his head and stuff.
Yeah.
With a towel over his mouth.
Yeah. Allegedly.
And then you've got a Chelsea game, and then you win, and then people are saying, "Oh, he's the guy. Believe it. If you take us forward, we'll win the league." Blah, blah, blah. And then you've got Brentford, and if I think you're saying lose to Brentford. I feel like if you even draw to Brentford, it's probably going to swing the other way, and people are like, "Oh, see what I mean? We can't win back-to-back games." So you want United in terms of where we are and where Amorim is, and just the collective team performances and the consistency to build, where it doesn't feel like it's them swings week in, week out. And the fact that it is, I think the fact that it swings so much means that all isn't well. Even after a Chelsea game, I thought beating Chelsea 2-1 at home, you feel like there'd be even more of a buzz. But it's just the way United win games now, innit? We made it so much more difficult than it should have been because of how well we started, which led to the red card. And going 2-0 up with 10 men before Casemiro got sent off, it felt like we could have cruised and made a statement and a battering and almost enjoyed the game.
Yeah, it should have been 3-4. Should have been 3-4. And I think you can blame a large portion of that on Casemiro. I do think if you play a game with an advantage, especially when you're already 2-0 up, Chelsea looked beaten to me. And I said this yesterday, but I think that even after it went to 10 men, Chelsea had a lot of the ball, and United didn't create loads of chances. But Chelsea never looked like scoring really.
They weren't very good. They took off all their attacking players.
Yeah,
I think for the rest of the game, they only had 2 attacking players on it. It was João Pedro who was trying to do basically everything by himself,
and his head went a little bit.
And then I thought he played well, but I thought he was trying to do everything himself. And then who was he playing with? Tyreek George, an industry plant. You know what I mean?
An industry plant.
So I wasn't surprised. I feel like their best attacking threat in the second half was Reece James.
Yeah.
And so I said I even tweeted about, I think Maresca taking off all his attacking players.
You weren't alone match of the day. Everyone was talking about
that. I think that benefited us, because I think if he didn't do that so early and he went down to 10 men and
I think he got. To be fair to him though, I think making 2 subs at 10 men isn't that mental. Then Palmer got injured.
Was Palmer injured? Yeah, because he went off, didn't he? He went down the tunnel and came out.
What would be even more mental is, let's say United won the game 4-0, nothing happened to Casemiro, and then Maresca got interviewed after the game and went, "How come you didn't make a bit more defensive sub?" I thought Casemiro was going to get sent off, but he didn't. Do you know what I mean? Him making subs under the assumption that we would also go down to 10 men is he couldn't do that.
It wasn't that. It was just, but he went so pragmatic with it. Where it was like,
I think he was thinking, let's try and hold on.
Also, I don't know.
At least even outlet though.
I was surprised. I was saying to you earlier, wasn't it? Was it Neto he took off? I thought he might have kept him on. Because he carries the ball quite well, and he's
someone who can actually
get on the end of things if you're just hoofing it up or whatever. There's a lot going on there, though, isn't there? They played on a Wednesday. The conditions are terrible. The dark 10 men.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They've
got this terrible record at Old Trafford.
He's probably just thinking, Jesus wept, let's just change as much as I can.
And it's another season, like Joel said, another season they haven't won at Old Trafford. I think that's like 12 years now.
Pathetic.
Yeah. It's mad that. Because I think for a couple of those years they've not been at the best. But they've won, what? No, not 2 Champions League. They only won 1. They've won a Champions League in that time. They've won 2 league titles in that time.
Yeah.
They've been a perennial top 5 team, other than, like I said, a couple of years. And for some reason, we lose to everyone, especially in the last few.
It's been a lot of draws, though. I think it's been 7 draws and 5 losses it was.
That's still mad,
it's not great.
If you played Chelsea 12 times, you would no way think they wouldn't beat us once.
Old Trafford United versus Chelsea games in the last 10 years are always drab affairs as well.
Yeah.
They're always bore draws and losses and not very good games for the most part.
There was one, wasn't there? The 4-0. That's the that was the season opener. That's the one I can remember. The other one I can remember that was actually a decent game.
When we fought Dan James, was it?
We fought Dan James. Thought 21 was coming. It's all happening.
So just generally speaking, at the minute, Dan J, how are you feeling about United? What are you thinking for the next sort of spell of games?
I feel like cautiously optimistic. I feel like the one sort of crumb of comfort I've got, if you can call it a crumb, the one thing I like that I can't deny is that the players are playing. They're trying. They've not down tools or given up. I don't think they're certainly not showing that. And that's sort of my main worry or fear of United is when I've seen them over the years, when you can just notice it. You can see players who just don't look up for it, or they look like they're just not believing in the manager anymore, or it just looks like there's a disconnect between the coaches and the players. We saw it evidently under Jose is probably the biggest example I can give it, where you just almost feel it.
So much so that the players were so giddy when Solskjaer came in that they won.
They won every game. They played for the next 3 months. Like it's just like it's like suddenly for about for a spell became the greatest United side ever. Yeah. It's like literally broke all the records. You're like, what? So yeah, it was mad. So I don't see that. I see that this is a team that is at least trying, and I think a big part of that is probably the players that don't want to be here. He's got rid of, or that weren't listening to him. He's got rid of. And he's kept some the ones that do want to be here. And I like the signings. I thought Mbumo again was positive. I thought Dorgu played well. I thought he's one who's had a little bit of stick. And even Cunha, I know he only came on, but I know we'll probably get to Sesko in a minute, and there's some question marks there. But I think the signings on the whole have helped. And I think you've got 1 or 2 players now I look at as who've got that leadership in them. Look at De Ligt. Look at Maguire, who's not lost that since he lost the armband. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is the captain. He shows he's the captain. So I do think there's a group of players there that are showing a bit of leadership, are up for it as well. And I think that's the main sort of bit of positivity I get from what I'm seeing. Yeah. It's not necessarily that I think the football is just unbelievable and that everything's rosy. It's the fact that at least this squad and the group of players seem like they're up for it. And that's what you need as a bare minimum if you're going to get anywhere.
How are you feeling at the minute, Ronnie? Just generally?
I just don't trust United. Do you know what I mean? Because we've had really good results over the past few years in big games. Similarly to this, we've beaten City, we've beaten Liverpool, and had sometimes didn't we have a massive unbeaten run under Ten Hag at one point?
Yeah,
Not massive.
It was like 1 loss in 21 games or something, wasn't it? In around November, straight after the World Cup, I think.
Oh, something along them lines. You just don't know when things can derail. And it just
had a massive unbeaten run of 3 games once.
And Thomas Frank, obviously, he's left Brentford. Brentford haven't been in the same outfit. They've lost, obviously, Mbumo and Vissar. They employed their set-piece coach in Keith Andrews. And it's probably our best opportunity to go away to Brentford and get a result, which is somewhere that we don't typically have a lot of joy in. It's a ground that a lot of the big teams do sometimes have iffy games at. And they provide a different threat. And that's what the Premier League is. You play Chelsea, they propose you a certain level, problem with the quality of players that they have. You're away to Brentford, and then it's a different problem they cause with set pieces and long throws and physicality and duels. That's just what the Premier League is, which is a whole reason why sometimes you almost have to have like a bulletproof style of play, don't you? That's like almost like malleable to play against different opposition and different teams, because every Premier League team offers you a bit of a different test. But sometimes United can beat Chelsea and then go drop the ball against Brentford and then lose or draw the game, and then it's all doom and gloom again. And then you've got Sunderland after that, which is an opportunity, because on the face of it, you see it as an opportunity to have 3 wins in a row, which would brighten everyone's day, wouldn't it? Yeah. But Sunderland also have proved themselves as being a bit of a tough outfit themselves. Yeah. Who outplayed.
They've started well.
I know Villa haven't been good, but they outplayed Villa with 10 men, and have posed quite a lot of threat to the teams that they have played. And I think the fact that it's at home now might be beneficial, because I thought if it's Sunderland away, it might be a little bit more difficult. Yeah. You know, when you play away teams that are newly promoted early in the season, especially when you're big boys.
It was the first game of the season a couple of years ago, or 3-4 years ago, when Brentford came up. Remember that Friday night when they played Arsenal?
They won, didn't they?
And it was just flying.
Won, and it was just, they were absolutely flying.
Just excited.
That was done where they did the tweet that Arsenal held on to for the next year and then retweeted.
Embarrassing.
Right, that was it. Yeah. Was it not? It was Ivan Toney, I think he might have done it.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
We've got a few super chats. J Bone McSwiggan says, channel tip, Ronnie, wear less clothing. There you go. Take that on board.
It's not a piece of meat.
Channel tip for what I
don't know, for your channel or for maybe.
He's saying he wants you to strip off.
Yeah. Drew P. Balls says, we played well and we won because the Wally. No, obviously I saw that. No one's. I'm not such an idiot that I can't see droopy balls hanging out, but it's a very good comment.
I'm not such an idiot. I can't see droopy balls.
I can see droopy balls
just by looking downwards
in front of my face.
Exactly.
We played well and won because that Wally Dallow wasn't playing. Ooh. Keep the manager. Nothing is built in 1 year. We need to see more.
Actually, I'm with Ronnie on that one.
Sub N. People complaining about the second half don't realise that the 10 versus 10. The feeling was that we were going to bottle it, and hence the caution in the second half was needed.
It was anxiety. That's what I think. It felt like anxiety, and I think the change that he made of Ugarte and Sesko was Amorim going,
we need to win.
I need this.
Yeah. And also, look at the game the week before. Literally, United had 2 or 3 really good chances against City. But when you're 3-0 down, and when the team is defending and playing a different way, it's not the same. They don't count for the same. Yes, Chelsea had more of the ball, but we were holding on to a 2-0 win. We don't need to hold on to the ball.
And they didn't create much.
They didn't. They had 1 shot on target all game. Literally, I said this yesterday. One of us 3 could have been in net, and the result would have been the exact same.
I didn't expect them to create much as well, because I feel like when we do get into a bit of a back five and defend the penalty area with the likes of like De Ligt or sometimes Maguire, that's usually where they thrive. And I was looking at Chelsea's attacking players, and they only had 2 attacking players on the pitch, and I was like, João Pedro was the only concern really. He was trying to be like a one-man army. Outside of him, I didn't think there was anything that could have really threatened us, to the point where Reece James almost had to be like a pseudo right winger to try and pose some sort of threat.
Because his crosses and his one-on-ones on the right side were their best threats, like you said before. Ben Toppin says, "Afternoon, boys. My biggest worry is that he still hasn't played Bruno in the 10. He's got the perfect opportunity with Mount and Cunha unfit to start." Yeah, potentially. I think that this is going to be a back and forth all season, especially until United start winning games. There's going to be this debate about Bruno Fernandes. And I wanted to talk about Bruno anyway. We're going to get on to Ahmad in a second. But let's talk about Bruno Fernandes first, because once again, as there always is with Bruno, there's this back and forth about is he good enough? Is he where should he be playing? Who should he be playing in front of? Should we have sold him? Is he past it? Is it it's been a constant debate around Bruno Fernandes since we brought him in. And I feel like he didn't play particularly well in the Fulham game. But other than that, I think he's been fantastic again this season. Like defensively, offensively, he seems to be sort of putting his foot everywhere like he always does. For me, I think it's completely sort of overdone. What have you made of Bruno and the sort of narrative around him, Jay?
I think the narrative's always been there. I remember a few years ago when certain people were saying that Donny van der Beek should start over him. Like, there's always been this sort of, I don't know, this segment or section of the United fans and certainly rivals who don't like Bruno, who don't get what he does, who don't appreciate him or whatever. And I think once we saw that Saudi bid, that was only going to get sort of amplified. And he had to hit the ground running to the start of the season. And because he wasn't amazing at the start of the season, people go, we should have took the money. Like, we've made a massive mistake. So it just sort of puts him under even a bigger microscope, if you will. Yeah. I've made my feelings clear on Bruno ever since he arrived. I think he's been easily our best signing post Alex Ferguson. I love him. I think he's a driving force in this team. I'm glad we've got him. And I don't buy into the idea that we would have sold him and automatically bought someone better. I think, yes, United have made some good signings under Ineos, but there's still signings where the jury's out. The jury's out on Joshua Zirkzee, the jury's out on Manuel Ugarte. Those are Ineos signings. We could have spent 90 million quid of Bruno money on them too. So, I don't, you know what I mean? Or players like that. Yeah. So, I'm not convinced that this is it. We've made a mistake. I think Bruno, I think he's one of those players that I don't think he's ever going to be truly loved by everyone because of the way he plays, because of the way he is, and because of how sort of inconsistent United as a team are at times. But I think one thing you cannot argue with, no matter whether you love him or loathe him, are his numbers. Yeah. You can argue about everything else. You can argue about he should be doing better. You can argue about whether he's too petulant, whether he's overrated, whether he doesn't do enough of this, that, and the other. But his numbers are unreal.
Yeah. What have you made of him this season and the sort of narrative?
I don't think I'd go as far as you, Joe. I don't think he's been fantastic, but the issue is with players like Bruno Fernandes is they're often victims of their own success. So when they set such high bar for themselves in terms of their level of player, when they do drop off from that level, I think it gets amplified a little bit more. So I guess I do see with him in terms of that aspect, but I think it's more him playing out of position this season in a role that's probably not that optimal for someone like Bruno Fernandes, where he has to do so much defending and running, and he almost has to be less risk averse with his style of play, which is kind of what makes him when he's in the 10 or playing further forward, where he's not really afforded that playing deep, or where he's got to be a bit more responsible, which he does struggle with, because his natural instinct is every time he touches the ball he wants to create something, doesn't he? And that's just where he's been asked to play, because United have once again not decided to sign a midfielder, which is something we've done for years. So he's had to do a job that probably doesn't perfectly suit him, and that's probably what the dip in form and the inconsistencies in his performance has been. He's still shown the flashes of quality and brilliance, as he always will do, but For me, I think he's been probably better than people are making out, but I don't think he's been fantastic either. And I think that's not purely just down to him, though.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get your point, Joe. I do, like I said, I do love Bruno, but yeah, I understand that. And there's time, look, you can get frustrated with Bruno Fernandes, and he's not infallible, but I just think he's such a net positive for Manchester United. Like, for me, he is. At a time as well when, even last season, people were criticising him or whatever, but when it's something like 38 goal involvements, something stupid, like 19 goals and 19 assists or whatever, in a team that finished 15th and struggled, like, whether you like him or not, those are pretty impressive numbers. And even this season, just looking over there, it says chances created. Is he top of the chances created league? And I know
he's top of so many things.
Yeah,
top of forward passes, long passes, progressive passes, passes into the final third, passes into the penalty box, through balls, slide tackles, expected assists, key passes, crosses into the box, expected goals and assists from midfielders.
like saves. There you go. You see,
progressive actions for midfielders, across all of those midfield metrics. He's at the top.
Did you memorise that?
No, of course I didn't. I'm reading it.
On the laptop.
But he's Oh, am I not allowed to use that?
I love Ronnie's little whispering campaign about your laptop.
The idea that I can't remember every stat that's ever happened.
Ronnie loves this.
Yeah.
Because he knows with me, he ain't angry. I don't bother with stats anyway. But like when Ronnie has a little
it's me talking because you know what it is? There's been so many times I've been on a pod with Joe, and I've said something.
Let me just check the record.
And then Joel just disproved it on straight away.
Yeah.
Like,
the thing is, right,
it's not you he's annoyed with. The stats is annoyed.
I had this
access
ready.
to them annoys him.
I had this ready before we went live. If you want a little bit of paper that you bring on with your information,
I'm going to start bringing.
I think you should. I think you should have a random one running that you can just go, okay.
Actually, and flipping the chart over. Here's my second.
It's just bad because obviously it definitely adds to the pod. People can hear the stats, and a lot of them are interesting.
It is.
Sorry, go on. No, just noticed there, like Jack Grealish is just behind Bruno Fernandes in chances created, and it's like Jack Grealish obviously had a Player of the Month award, and everyone's sort of raving about him and how well he's doing at Everton, and how wonderful he is, and I'm not seeing loads of him. Like, he's obviously a great talented player, but he'll give the ball away, he'll lose possession. No one, hammers him as much. It's not like everyone's loving Jack Grealish and how amazing he is, and yet with Bruno Fernandes, his numbers are even better. It's like there's a narrative saying he ain't good enough.
Yeah, it's mad. And Peter Kelly says we could win the league this season with 92 points, and Frank still wouldn't be able to cut his hair if we just drew every fifth game and won the rest. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. Imagine that.
I'd absolutely. I mean, just imagine.
I mean, I'd love it if we won the league, no matter what happened.
Can you just imagine actually that happening?
I worry. I worry.
That we might never see
because
it.
Instead, we
went 26 years without winning the title when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
We didn't, we finished 15 last season. We could be 26 years away from another title right now.
Yeah.
Like,
could be.
Like, it could happen.
I don't think we are, though.
I don't think we are. But it could. The Scousers went 30 years without winning the title, and they spent a lot of money during those 30 years. Yeah. Like, it's feasible.
When Arsenal last won it? When was it?
2004, yeah.
22 this year.
22 years. You know what I'm saying?
By the end of the season, it'll be
think about that. And Arsenal are a club, right, on the whole, who've never been massively destabilised.
Chelsea are approaching 10 years.
10 years, yeah. But that's what I'm saying, man. It can happen.
It goes
in waves. And the reason that happens is because it's so hard to replace top players with top players and top managers with top managers. Yeah. Like, I think City are seeing that now. They have to play a different way. They can't do what they did because it's not easy to find new De Bruynes. And it's not easy to find. I know obviously John Stones is still there, but a 27-year-old John Stones and a 27-year-old Kyle Walker, you can't just pull these players out your arse. And even checkbook managers or managers with a big checkbook, you can't just magic them out of nowhere. Look at Barcelona after all those top players left when they had Neymar and Xavi and Iniesta and Suarez and Messi. You can't just come up with a new lot of them. And maybe now, finally, 10 years later, you got players like Pedri and Gavi in there who might hold a candle to Iniesta and Xavi. But even then, they're not the same and they can't play that same way. That's why what Sir Alex did is so important and why he's the greatest manager of all time, because he won titles over 20 years with different players, with one lot of players, and then completely changed it for the second lot. I know there's a few through lines there, but it's not easy to do that. So that's why you would hope at some point United will have a chance to win the league, because when Van Dijk and Salah leaves, yes, maybe Isak will pick up the reins, but he might not, and Wirtz might not be able to do what Salah's been doing or whatever. So we've just got to sort of hope that we're around when City seem to have dipped. When will Liverpool dip? When will Arsenal dip? Can United be the ones to sort of take the ascendancy after that? But it's all about timing. It's all about timing.
No, it is. You're right. And look, I expect United to win a title. Certainly not, but certainly before the next 26 years. It's just, I just worry sometimes.
Let's talk about Ahmad, because this is another conversation piece that's been happening over the last few weeks. So the first thing that sort of came up was, I think it was the Grimsby game was what people started to go, hang on a sec. And then he's had a couple of games after that where in that game he didn't play very well and he's maybe not been at his best.
I think Fulham was the first one.
Oh, Fulham, yeah. Sorry, Fulham was one where people were sort of looking at it. Then the Grimsby game, he was quite poor in that game. And he's not really had a sort of statement performance this season. He's had a few performances that have underwhelmed a little bit. Then it's gone on from him being, from the sort of narrative being, we love Ahmad, but he's not had his best start to the season, which I think is fair enough, and that can be reasonable. Acceptable. So now I'm starting to see this with this Garnacho thing. So for people who haven't seen it, he was seen sort of chatting to Garnacho on the pitch after the game against Chelsea, sort of laughing and joking with Garnacho on the pitch. Garnacho dressed up like the Michelin Man in his big zip-up jacket, like we won't recognise him. Then he posted a picture of those two together. Ahmad posted on his Instagram with a sort of kit swap picture, I think tagging Leaders, which is an agency that represents both players, but obviously it also looks a bit like they're calling themselves Leaders. I don't know if that's got into people's heads or not. Then there was backlash from that, because obviously Garnacho's sort of persona non grata, as they say. And Ahmad has then deleted everything off his Instagram account. Yeah. Every post, all the stories, it's all gone. And there's now, I'm hearing this thing of Garnacho gave Ahmad his personality and his ill discipline and all this, and it's starting to become this thing that not only is Ahmad having a bit of a tricky start to the season, he's got this attitude problem and all this. I
think he's even started like blocking people on Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah. What have you made of all this, Ronnie?
It's not been great. It's just usually what happens when there's a dip of form from a player. The fan base can be quite. See, I feel like we all sometimes can be guilty of it. Can like be a little bit toxic, so to speak, in terms of the criticism. I think it started to build up that way because his performances haven't been great pretty much all season, and it's starting to build up, especially when he had such a good season last season. So you build up your rep, and you almost got to maintain your standards. And also, because I feel like everyone else has been sold, so like Garnacho and basically Rashford and Højlund, and you've got the likes of Anthony that's left as well, and pretty much all the attackers that are still playing for us are ones that have been here for a couple of months, in terms of Sesko and Cunha and Mbumo, and we've seen Mount's been mostly injured, so it sometimes feels like Ahmad's probably going to be, if you putting it mildly, he's going to be like the easiest scapegoat for a lot of players, for a lot of fans when it comes to criticism as well.
What do you think of what this sort of narrative that's building a little bit around Ahmad at the minute?
I think it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I do. Honestly. It makes my head spin. I don't even know where to start. For starters, right, if anyone's going to be annoyed or should be annoyed about Alejandro Garnacho posing for fucking pictures, it should be Chelsea fans.
Exactly.
He didn't get off the bench and he's posing for pictures with the other team's shirts. Also, he spoke to Garnacho on the fucking pitch. So did everyone. I was there and watched it. Kobe Mainoo spoke to him. He literally went up to players, hugging them and talking to them. So let's not just pretend it was only Ahmad he spoke to, because I fucking watched Garnacho chatting to quite a few people and it wasn't an issue. And also, it's not an issue. United have just won. It's not a massive problem. And let's have it right with Ahmad, yeah? There was a time when Ahmad was the fucking saviour of Manchester United, when we were all like, oh my God, he's injured. What are we going to do now? And when was that? Oh, last season? And all of a sudden, he's had a bit of a ropey start, and everyone's like, he's got an attitude problem. Based on what? A fucking Instagram post.
Yeah, I've seen that. People saying, I'm not sure about his attitude.
When that? I mean, if you've never seen an attitude. He got dropped when a lot of the time when many of us around this table were saying Ten Hag's got the blinkers on. He should be starting him. Did he spit his dummy out? Did he kick off? Did he cause a problem? No. What did he do? He carried on playing, got his head down. Rude came in, realised how valuable he was. Then Amorim did the same, and he came in. It wasn't, when he was banging in goals at the Etihad and we were all wanking over it. Like now it's like, he's posed for a picture with Garnacho that his agency have probably asked him to do. Yeah. And everyone wants to fucking burn him at the stake. Seriously, life's too short, man.
And I've seen people started referencing that time when he flick off some fans like months ago.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a problem then because he was performing and playing well. But as soon as he's had a different form, people have gone back to it to use it against him. And that's just the way life and the way people are. That's just the way it works.
I mean, if you search Ahmad in Twitter and look at the top results, it's some of it again is you should have passed to Sesko when he had that chance.
I don't mind like criticism.
Yeah.
Like
no.
I'm not his dad. Like if you can say he should have done this or he's not been playing as well as he can, I agree. But this whole attitude problem,
that's what I mean. There's a lot of that.
Is a disgrace.
And he's shit and all this, and and it's all just I saw this coming months ago, and I saw these problems with his attitude months ago, and all this like. Everyone who has not liked him. And obviously, famously, I said I thought we should get rid of him last season.
No, I'm not.
But that was based off of him not playing and not seeing enough of him on the pitch. Nothing to do with his form or his attitude.
Have those been your burner accounts, Joe?
Yeah. Are you trying to get this narrative going? Then pretty soon the hashtag Joe Smith was right will start trending. And then you'll be able to repost that clip that Steve keeps reposting whenever I'm at a good game. You can repost it to show Steel.
Yeah, I've been saying this for 18 months.
Well,
I mean, it goes to show, doesn't it? Because I'm someone that, like I said, 18 monts ago, whenever it was, I think it started last season, wasn't it? Thought that he probably wouldn't last and it probably was right to move him on. To now, I'm sitting here and I'm going to defend him because I think he's an excellent player. And that this whole narrative that's building, like, Garnacho gave him his bad discipline problem. Like, I know obviously people are joking, but that's what you're starting to see on Twitter, this thing of like, not only is he not having a good run of form, but actually he's a dickhead and he's not working. And one thing I will say about him, he does fucking work hard.
Of course he
does. That game against Chelsea, he was all over. He was covering ground. He was that bad against Chelsea. He wasn't, but that's what I mean. It sort of builds and builds and builds. And until he gets a game where he scores a wicked goal or skins someone, lays Burma win and gets an assist, it's going to just creep and creep and creep. But that's what I'm saying.
There was one moment,
we can't let that happen.
Towards the end of the game, I noticed it where he was running for the ball and it was too short or whatever, and there was a counter attack, and he sort of went like that, and he had no chance of getting back for it. Yeah. And then everyone was like, there was a bit of like, and I thought he's never going to be able to turn around and go. Do you know what I mean? And I think maybe a few little moments like that getting in people's heads. I don't know. One thing I've always said about Ahmad, I was a little bit concerned. It wasn't a criticism. We were over-reliant on him. Yeah. And I don't think it'd be beyond the realms of possibility that we have a situation where Ahmad doesn't start every game, where he's rotated, where he is one of those players that plays in the 10, and then 1 week it's him, probably when we got European football, to be fair. Next it's Cunha, then might be Mbeumo, whatever. There's a bit of rotation going on. I understand that idea. I don't understand the idea that he's not good enough for us. Because I think he is.
No. And also, like we said, we can separate the two things. We're not sat here saying he's been amazing, he's our best player, you're not allowed to say anything bad about him. But this whole thing of like, one kind of spawns the other. Yeah. Like, not only, because at United, it's not enough to just say someone's having a rough patch. It's his attitude's not right. He's not working hard enough in training. He doesn't care about his teammates. He doesn't want, you don't even have to do anything. Have 3 bad games in a row, and people will be tearing apart your ex-girlfriend, what you did at your last club, what you picked from your fucking menu at Mackey's. Like, it's like just a feeding frenzy. So we need, that's the bit that we need to cut.
And it'll be like a midweek, probably picture of him in the sun going to like get breakfast.
Yeah.
And then some fan will reply and goes, why is he outside smiling, getting
Who
breakfast?
does he think he is?
When he's just lost on the week, like
some guy posted on TikTok, didn't he, the derby that he was out with Ahmad in early hours. And that started doing the rounds. And then people noticed, like, it was just like, it panned across and away. And then people, like, if you paused it was Ahmad. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But people were sharing that like it was.
That's what happens. So, yeah, cut nonsense. That. Akash K says, it's so jarring. Bruno joins the 100 club and yet hasn't lifted a Premier League title. Even more jarring watching that scrub Bernardo lift Premier League titles. And Abhinav Verma says, the last time Ahmad did a social media cleanse, he scored the last-minute winner against Liverpool. Just saying. That's good. Let's get a last-minute winner against Brentford.
No, that's good knowledge. That's
but also, the thing is, stop doing a social media cleanse, mate. Like, I get it, and I'm on your side. But it's a bit
What? Bit melodramatic.
A bit dramatic.
He's a bit
Deleting
out there though.
It's definitely Joe's burner.
Yeah.
Joe, you know what it is? Joe and Eric Ten Hag are in cohorts.
Me and Eric. I would have
Burners.
That's the only reason you didn't rate Ahmad is because of Eric Ten Hag. I didn't rate him.
Just bring Anthony back. And Højlund and Onana.
Shares in Ten Hag, haven't you?
Yeah,
Fair play.
I'm part of that. What is it, ECG or whatever?
Yeah, you're on the firm, you bro.
SCG.
SCG, thank you.
Pretending.
Yeah, like get it wrong deliberately.
What's it called?
What's it called? I don't know because I'm not really part of
I see
it.
the letters on the checks every month. I don't read it. Let's get into Wally of the week.
Mate, as open and shut as it's ever been.
Come on, Jay, talk to me.
I'm not even going to dilly-dally. My man who was grabbing Frank's hair.
Yeah.
Where do you start with that? Fucking hell. Frank, who we had on the channel yesterday, the nicest lad you can ever meet. Wouldn't say boo to a goose. And I was like, I don't know if you've probably seen the footage. Some guy, I think he's on the concourse, grabs his hair. I mean, I'm not being funny. What are you doing grabbing people's hair anyway if you're kicking off of them? That's just proper pathetic. Also, grabbing older Frank is just sad. And there's just no need for it.
People know who to try, don't they?
Yeah, like...
No disrespect.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not big and hard, it's pathetic. And I just thought, that's fucking embarrassing. And the guy looks about 60 as well, he should know better. What do you do today at the game? Oh, fucking pull some guy's hair. Showed him who's boss. Yeah, all right, mate.
Yeah.
Just
sad.
Shit. Sad as fuck.
And we didn't know about that when we recorded.
No, and then Frank told us afterwards, and it was like, we'd already done the end, and we just thought, you know what, we'll just move on from it. He was fine, by the way. We spoke to him, and he was like, bewildered by it all, as we were. We're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Madness. Ronnie, who's your one of the week?
I'm gonna go Pep and Arteta for.
This was gonna be mine as well. So go on.
For basically that shit show really of a match. I couldn't believe I wasted my Sunday evening watching that, and I think it was. I would never really got on that trend fully, but it did kind of highlight to me how overcoached and like restrictive sometimes the top level of football has gotten, especially in England. Yeah. And I think it's not allowing the better players that were important in here to kind of express themselves and football to be fluid. And that's what's annoying, because look how Liverpool are winning things and winning titles, which is annoying all of us. But they actually play some sort of like attacking football or something relatively not exciting for us, but has some sort of like that type of heavy metal type football. Because people criticise them that they haven't looked good. Because I've been running the narrative that they've basically shithoused all their wins this season.
They absolutely have.
But it's because they actually try and
play.
And
at least it's exciting.
Yeah,
what I will say is the Arsenal-Liverpool game was an absolute stink fest as well.
Because Arsenal just caused that. I don't. You know what's the thing? Pep tried to Arteta, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I just think for the two of the best teams in England, for the games to be like that, it's not the first time.
Look at this though, this season then. So you're saying the City game, Arsenal City game was shite.
Yeah.
The Arsenal Liverpool game was shite. And Arsenal, when it came to Old Trafford, just fucking played for set pieces.
No bollocks, man.
Like, it's just crap.
Yeah. I mean, I think because Pep wants to be sort of king genius. Do you know John Jones, the UFC fighter? He used to say that before he would fight someone, he would look at what they were best at and beat them at that. So if he was fighting Chael Sonnen, he'd out wrestle him. If he was fighting Lyoto Machida, he'd out karate him. He would demoralize you by beating you at the thing you think you're better than him at.
Okay.
That's what Pep tried to do with Arsenal. He was like, I'm not going to beat you playing like me. I'm going to beat you playing like you, and that's going to fuck you right up. And they couldn't do it. And it led to a game, like you said, with Arsenal. You watch them play, and it's literally like everything has stopped. It's like, have you ever watched a YouTube video and you go, this is boring. Oh, I'm accidentally been watching this at 0.75 speed. Yeah. And it's like everything's going a bit slow. It's like watching Arsenal play is just a boring, horrible experience at the minute. And I think I've watched every Arsenal game this season. And even that Liverpool game, you just watch them, you think, this type of football might win the league this season.
Can you trust it?
It's horrible.
Arteta has really gone into that game and thought, you know what? I'd start Marino over Meze, because Marino's another 6'2" guy that I can stick in a box when I do my long throw-ins and set pieces. That's literally his thinking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's pathetic, man.
I feel like Arteta approaches too many of the games thinking, how many like 6'2" plus players can I start in one team so that when we get a corner, we can score, rather than what they can create in open play with the
It's mental.
Because I can't sit here and pretend. Look at the way Arsenal play and what you're watching, and then list off the amount of attacking players that they do have.
Yeah, they've got shitloads.
You might have question marks over some of them, but there's enough attacking talent there to be better going forward than they are. And I know they say that the teams that they play sit back and etc. But even then, teams sit back against Prime City, or they sit back against Liverpool, and they still score and play better football than them.
Yeah.
And teams sit deep against the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid. It doesn't really affect them as much. But I don't know. I just watched and I thought I think the quality of a lot of the football and the matches this Premier League season so far hasn't been very good.
I completely agree.
I think it's been a drop from last season.
And like Liverpool, I think other than the who did they play midweek? In the Champions League? Atletico. I only saw bits of that, but I've seen every other Liverpool game this season, and every single time they're either hanging on for a result like against Everton, or going for a 97th minute winner like basically every other game. And you think maybe, obviously United need to get their act together and start winning, but I don't think the gap feels as big now as it did 3 or 4 years ago.
That's what's annoying me about this current situation we're in. I've said it a couple of times already. I think the league now, United have dropped the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think if United were better in terms of how the management's been, how the recruitment's been over the past couple of years, we could really be sitting here as genuine title contenders.
Yeah,
but we're not.
I agree. Right, Jay's had to go, and we're going to be going as well. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for joining us at home. This has been the Paddock Podcast. We'll see you in a bit.